You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting-edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Amlour, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Amlour International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact. Hello and welcome to Business Wealth Impact. Today we have Candace McKim, who's an acclaimed international intuitive manifestation teacher and coach. She's a #1 international best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and the founder of Manifestation Magic. Candace empowers women to unlock their true purpose and manifest their big, audacious dreams. Welcome, Candace.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, me too. Okay, let's get stuck right into this. Candace, tell us about what you do. And we hear a lot about manifestation, and some people kind of know what that is, but they kind of don't. What is it that you do, and why is this important?
Well, what I do is I take the manifestation principles and I simplify it. And I kind of turn it on its head a little bit of doing a bit of a paradigm shift. So many people think that they're not doing it correctly, that they're not manifesting correctly, that they're not doing it in the right way. And so I kind of turn that on its head and use paradigm shifts to tell people that there's lots of different ways to manifest, and let's simplify it for you.
Okay, so let's run through what is not wrong, because everybody's so afraid they're doing stuff wrong, right? So let's go
Right.
through some ways that are right, because there's more than one way. What are some ways that are right to manifest?
Okay, so, well, a lot of people believe they have to have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. And I don't believe that we have to have that it's nice to be in a flow and follow your intuition and follow your intuitive guidance. And so that you can that you can move forward in a way that feels good for you. It's not about burning yourself out. It's not about putting yourself into overwhelm. It really is about allowing yourself to go with the flow and to allow it to come as it's supposed to come, as it's meant to come for you. I believe money loves speed. So if we have a 3-year plan, are we blocking it from coming to us quickly?
Mm.
Right? Like sometimes, you think about that. You think, okay, I have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, but what if it came in 6 months? What if it came in 8 months? Instead of thinking that it's going to take that long for it to come to manifest.
I agree with you. There's so many, like, people tell me sometimes, well, in a year, I want to make this much. I'm thinking, why can't they just do that in a month? So you're
Yeah,
getting rid of all those barriers and
yeah.
chains that people have created of creating a story. Okay,
Mhm.
I love this. Now, what are some ways to actually, like, actual ways to manifest? I mean, like, stuff to do that people can go do that's going to help them manifest.
Well, my background is I have a degree in social work. Then I became a yoga therapist, and then I've written the book on intuition and created a deck of oracle cards. So I've spent the last couple decades marrying together talk therapy with body, mind, spirit. So there are what we call in yoga, we call it practices. And what we mean by that is we keep doing them over and over again, but we can shift it, we can change it. It's a practice. It doesn't have to be rigid. And this
Mm,
is what I'm talking about with having the 3-year plan. It creates rigidity. And
mm,
so some of the other practices would be gratitude, journaling, meditation, all of the things. But if people feel like they can't do it or they're doing it incorrectly, that's not going to serve them. If you think that you're
mm,
not doing enough gratitude, I always think of Oprah, right? She does her 5 gratitude every day, or she's talked about it on her shows and stuff. And I think, oh, I'm not, there was a time where I'm like, oh, no, I'm not doing enough gratitude. I'm not doing it every day. And I don't
mm,
believe that that's preventing me from manifesting now. Again,
mm,
and I think a lot of people believe that it does. And I know that it will help you move it forward. So I'm kind of contradicting myself here. So I know
mhm,
that these practices will help you to move it forward. But if you think you're doing it incorrectly, or that you're not doing it enough, or
mhm,
that there's something wrong with the way you're doing it, that's what's going to prevent you from actually aligning with what it is that you desire. Does that make sense?
mm. It does make sense. Okay, I love
Mm.
this no wrong way thing, because I agree. If you're getting all uptight about, like, I mean, sometimes I'm so busy manifesting that I'm just doing my gratitude in my head because there's so much
Yeah.
happening
Yes.
because of the gratitude, that it's sort of like, well, the gratitude's been working because I'm just doing it in my head because I don't have the time because so much great stuff is happening. So I think
Yeah.
it's that thing with human beings is, am I doing it right? Am I,
Yes.
So if
Yes.
stuff is manifesting, clearly they're doing it right, right?
Exactly. Everything that we have in our life, we're manifesting it. We're
Mm,
creating it. Good, bad, ugly, we're manifesting it. So if you want to manifest something different, if you want to manifest your big audacious dreams, you need to align with that dream rather than aligning with the problems that you're having in your life or
mm,
going into a suffering state of being. So one of the quickest ways, so going back to techniques, one of the quickest ways to know if you're in a powerful state of being, when you're in a powerful state of being, that's when you're aligning with your intuition. You're connecting to source energy. You're more into your creative energy. And when you're in your suffering state of being, that's when you're in complaining or not feeling good. I'm not doing things right, comparing yourself to other people, being a perfectionist and not getting things done, that type of energy.
mm,
So, the quickest way to know if you're in that powerful state and to have the ability to align with what you truly want is just to notice how you're feeling on any given
mm,
moment.
mm,
So, if you're feeling good, or you're feeling powerful, that means that you're in a powerful state of being and you can align with source energy. You can align your energy to what it is that you want. And
mm,
when you're in a suffering state, and I always ask this in workshops that I teach, is how many hours, how many minutes, how much time each day do you spend in suffering?
mm.
And it's shocking and it breaks my heart to hear people say that they spend 8 hours, 10 hours a day in suffering.
Wow.
And it can be their entire day at work
Mm,
or, their home life or whatever it is, right? And so just even so for your audience, like, so if you're listening to this, how much time a day do you spend in suffering?
mhm,
And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being in suffering. There's so much growth, there's so much to learn in
mhm,
either state. If you're in a suffering state or if you're in a powerful state, there's a lot to learn. There's a
mm,
lot of good that comes out of it. So we don't need to say it's right or wrong.
mm.
But but the trick is when you're in the suffering state, you're not connecting, you're not aligning your energy to what you deeply want.
True. Now, I had years where I was in a suffering state and I knew it. And I was like, I just want to
Mm,
get out of this. And
yeah.
you are learning, but it's suffering. And really, my goal, and I know yours is as
Yeah.
well, is to free people. Like, it's one of my
Yes.
goals in life is to free
Yes.
people from everything, from lack, from their own mindset. So, how, if somebody's been in a suffering state for a while and wants to get out, do you have some sort of like shift technique to just sort of get them over the hump into the non suffering?
Yeah, well, the first thing is awareness, right? Like you
Mm,
said, you knew you were in that suffering
mm,
state. And so awareness is first and foremost. Okay, I'm in the suffering state. And and if they can identify, I am in it from 8 hours, 8.5 hours, 15 minutes drive or half an hour driving to work, I'm in that suffering state thinking of it. And then all the time at work, and then your half hour driving home. So if
mm,
you know that that's what you are in,
mhm,
and yet you can shift it so quickly when you get home,
mhm,
it's that is just huge to have that kind of
mm.
awareness. So the first thing would be awareness. The second thing is doing the things that moves you out of the suffering state. So for me, it's meditation. I've been meditating since I was 12 years old. My
Wow.
parents were, self-employed, and my mom was prescribed Valium because she was so stressed out. And she was like, I can't take this stuff, and run a business. And
Mm,
so she took our whole family to learn to meditate. So meditation is my number one. I meditate. It's a non-negotiable. I do it every single day.
mm,
I know I hear so many times from people, I can't meditate. And again, I'm about simplifying it. No, you can meditate. It's just finding the time and doing it. There's no
mhm,
wrong way to meditate. So meditation is key. Dancing, music, getting, shaking things off, movement, getting out into nature, doing
mm,
your journaling, doing a brain dump, right? And journaling in your all like dumping all of the complaints and all of the stuff,
mm,
the negative stuff, doing a purge onto your journal. All of these techniques that you hear all about all the time, just choose what will take you out at that given moment. Talking to a friend, all of those things.
mm. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
interesting. It's true. A lot of people, when they try it, and I did this. It's like, am I doing the meditation right? But it's really just sitting quietly and trying to empty your brain, really, and breathing. That's meditation, right?
Yeah, it's not even emptying your brain. It's just focusing your brain on one thing for however
Hmm.
long. So
Right.
I offer like the 7 steps of meditation, and it is, yeah, you set the timer, you take yourself through a bit of a relaxation, you focus on a mantra or a candle or whatever you
Or
want to look at,
phrase.
or yeah, Yeah, a word, and then you just focus on it. But when your mind wanders, you bring it back. When your mind
Mhm.
wanders, you bring it back because your mind
Mm.
will wander. Everybody does. Everybody
It's
does.
normal. I've never met anybody that hasn't had a wandering mind, and people think that all these big experts at meditation, we're all wandering. Yeah. So the
Yeah,
easiest thing is just sit there and think of, like, even if it's just abundance, thinking of the word
yeah,
abundance and
yeah.
doing that. That's that easy, right?
Yeah, yeah. And your mind will start going into all the abundance. What are you going to do
Mm.
with all the money that you're going to
Yeah.
make or whatever?
Yeah.
Your mind will go there.
Mm.
So I usually use the sound
Mhm.
so hum, and you just repeat it and you
Mhm.
connect it to your breath. Inhale, exhale. So
So
hum.
so hum.
Yeah. Like inhale, so exhale, hum. And
Oh,
so because
interesting.
we don't have an idea of what that means. So we're not like
Just
thinking,
it's just a word, so you're just like breathing. Yeah, amazing. So
yeah,
that's a good tip. So in, hum, out.
yeah.
So
Inhale,
hum.
so
So
exhale, hum.
and
Yeah.
you do this for 15 minutes?
As long as it feels comfortable for you. I'm a solid 20-minute meditator. I set the timer
Mhm.
for 25 minutes.
Mhm.
And some people 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Start where you're at and
Mhm.
then work your way up.
Good. Okay, well, that's very practical. I love that. We even have the so and the hum, 5 minutes, 10. People have no excuse now to start doing some meditation.
No
Beautiful.
excuse.
Okay. So let's be real. There are a lot of manifestation coaches, teachers, because it's
Yeah.
important and it works.
Yeah.
What makes you different and so good, because you are good at what you do? What makes you so good and different? What is that?
What makes me different is I have an ability to simplify. I have an ability to simplify yoga, spirituality, manifestation, meditation, business. I just have this ability to look at it and be able to simplify it. I can tell people how to do it, and it's just that ability to simplify it in a way that is bite sized for everybody to ingest it and to be able to bring it into their own life.
Mm. Okay, beautiful. Okay,
Mhm.
so what are some other tips that you like to leave people with?
One of the most important tips I like to leave people with is that manifestation loves speed. So don't
Mm.
hesitate. When you get opportunities, jump in, take the
Mm.
action. Don't hold yourself back. This is the thing that holds people back more than anything for women, for especially women, I believe, is that they have put their dreams on the back burner. But when you are in that flow and the opportunities come, feel it and say yes, say hell yes, let's do this. And then
Mhm.
it's really about feeling it in your body and go and feeling that excitement and being in awe of the universe and all that the universe is bringing to you all the time.
Okay, so that's a problem. People are jaded. Okay. Now I work on awe, and I'm always excited. My kids joke about that with me, like, "Mom, everything is so. Isn't this exciting?" But I do that on purpose because I think the more that you say, "Isn't this exciting?" you are excited about stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
most people seem kind of jaded and it's sad, right? So
Mhm.
being in awe, I mean, how do you get there if you're not in awe? What Because there need to be to me, there's always got to be some step towards the light. So if some people feel jaded, what's a way that they can start to feel in awe at all?
Well, I think going back to our gratitude is if you start to write down every day, every night before you go to bed, 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. Then the next day, you're starting to look for what you're grateful for. You're starting to
Mm,
look for the gratitude,
mhm,
and even just looking around your surroundings, and all of the abundance that we have. Right?
mm.
There's just so much that we have to be thankful for,
I
and so
agree.
I do really believe that is one of the first things to do.
Right. And the thing is, what I've found is the more that you are grateful, the deeper it gets. I could write gratitude for an hour. I could just
Yeah,
keep getting,
me too.
and the more you do that, it uncovers another layer. Like, "Oh, I'm
Yes.
grateful that I have leftovers in the fridge because I don't have to cook tonight." Like, because I
Yeah.
am grateful. And I think
Yeah.
the more you do it, and uncovers, and I think it takes away that sort of taking things for granted. Because,
Yeah.
you know,
And I think
we
we
do.
start to embody it. And I know that, like you said, you just do it in your head now because you're busy, right? Manifesting. And it's an embodiment. It's
Mm,
an embodiment of gratitude so that we
mm,
don't have to write it down every night because we feel it. We feel it all day long
mm,
of all the things that we're grateful for. And it's like it's a feeling, right? It's like a reaction. It's
mm.
like your body, because I don't believe there's any separation between body, mind, spirit. And
Right.
so even our intuition, we're always getting a physical reaction to
Hmm.
our intuitive hits. We're always getting a physical reaction to gratitude hits,
Mm,
right? And so your body will kind of do this, right? It'll kind of,
mhm,
kind of lean in a little bit when you're
mhm.
grateful to something, when something happens, or when you're
Right.
noticing something.
It's interesting. Every time I'm on a high, like sometimes I'm just so high on life, and I'm like, wow. Then I think for a second, oh, that's right. I'm going to come down, and because you do, right?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah.
sometimes I'm just so excited, and it goes on for a whole week. I'm like, wow, I love my life. Then I'm thinking, okay, this is so great. But remember, Jean, when you get back to real life, there might be a little bit of a bump, and I think
Hmm.
people can experience that almost as a sort of little bit of a depression, right?
Yeah.
So how do you? I was thinking, yeah, I'm getting better at managing that sort of bump of high to normal everyday life and not having a low. What do you do? Do you know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally.
So how do you manage that, like adrenaline high, like all that hormones to getting back to real life and not like being, oh, I'm back in real life and I'm kind of slightly depressed. How do you, because we all experience that up and down.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
do you manage the smoothing out of that transition?
Well, I think of it as the ebbs and flows, right? We always have these ebbs and flows in life, in business, and actually, this is a huge part of my work is navigating the ebbs and the flows. Like, how do
Mm,
we get into, like, we're in this flow and all this abundance and opportunities and experiences are coming to us, and then we get into the ebb of it. And you're
mhm,
right, like, how do we navigate it? I do
mhm,
believe it's coming back to all of our practices,
mhm,
allowing ourselves time to rest, moving away from the masculine energy of pushing ourselves through that, and
mm,
instead sinking into it and allowing it, acknowledging it. Okay, I'm in a bit of an ebb. I'm in a bit of a wah wah, right?
mm,
Of things right now. And it's really is about allowing yourself just to sink into it and go, you know
mhm,
what? This is where I'm at right now. And I'm going to nurture myself. I'm going to look after myself. And I'm going to do all of the things, all of the practices. And again, I want to emphasize the word practice because as humans, we give them up all the time. We stop
mhm,
doing our practices all the time.
mm,
And that's normal. And so don't beat yourself up when you go
mhm,
through those periods when you're not doing the things
mm.
that you know that are going to make you feel better. So
Right.
that's why it's like then we come back to all of those things that we know that will make us feel better, which is sleep, breath, connecting to your breaths. Taking a deep breath is the first thing you need to do to slow your central nervous system down, to relax you. Movement, I move
Mhm,
every single day. Diet, what are you eating? Like, are you
mm,
feeding yourself a bunch of junk, or are you eating? I'm a vegetarian, have been since I was 16. Like, do
mhm,
you do the plant, whatever it does that what you're going to that will make you feel better or not.
mhm.
And what else did I missed? Yeah, movement.
Exercise.
Yeah, movement. I
Mm,
call it
mm,
movement instead of
right.
exercise, but
It
any
is
type of
movement.
movement, dancing, yoga, walking, any type of
Yes,
movement. Yeah, yeah,
yes. No, you're
yeah.
spot on because when we get, like, back from a trip, we haven't slept well. We're like, "Oh,
Yes.
I gotta get back to my exercise." And we usually, if it was me, I sort of don't usually eat my normal diet because it's just too
No,
hard, you
I
know?
know.
And I kinda
Totally.
let myself go, like, eat the nice food. I'm like, "Well, it's just for this time." But it is that tiredness, especially when you've been on a trip and there's a jet lag and everything like that. But,
Yeah,
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 interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so Candace, very interesting stuff. What is one thing that you'd like to leave our listeners with? One wisdom or mindset that you'd like to, leave them with that they can think about?
That our intuition is our soul speaking to us. And it is your soul that is here to really shine and to go big. So stop holding yourself back, stop playing small, and allow yourself to do the scary things, to step into fear, to do the things that that you've been holding yourself back on, and go for it. And this is your one life, so just go for it. And we need you. We need you. The world needs you right
That's important because I don't think people feel they're significant. I think that's an issue
now.
that when
Mm,
people think of themselves, they think, what do you mean the world needs me? I'm just another person, but every person is unique and important. So
mhm.
I love that. And I'm just going to ask a question about the fear. So
Okay.
really what's all that's holding people back is fear. I've spoken about that. Okay. You've heard me
Yes.
say this.
Yes.
People have problems getting past the fear. They're just so in it. It's like, oh, it's easy for you to say, but I'm in fear. How do
Mhm.
they get out of the fear or use it or do something to get them to use the fear to move forward? Do you have techniques for that?
Yeah, taking a deep breath. Like, honestly,
Okay.
because like, doing a TEDx talk, scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Mm,
Scariest thing. And it's like, I said yes immediately when I was asked to do one. And I said, yes, I'm
mhm.
going to do it. And then I never told anybody for like a month and a half. In fact, I never did tell anybody. I got called out on Facebook because somebody else was they said, I'm doing this, I'm sharing the stage with Candace. And so I'm like, oh shit, it's out there. Right.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, so it's because there's two parts of us, right? Our soul and our ego. So our soul
Mhm,
wants to do it, and our
mhm.
ego wants to keep us safe. And
Mm,
so our soul, so if you say yes right away, you're answering your soul. You're answering the
yes,
universe's opportunities that are coming to you. First of all, you're asking for it, and then the universe gives you opportunities, and then you're afraid to do what you need to do,
yes.
right? And so it's like, no, stick with the soul, follow your intuitive guidance, and just you say yes right away, and then take the breath. Then
And
take the
then
breath before you step on stage.
and then it will follow. Yeah, I agree, 'cause I used to be an actress. It was very hard. Like, I don't know how I did that actually. I just said, "Yes, I'll work this out." So, okay, good advice. Just say yes to life,
Yeah.
and then you have to do it.
Yeah, take the breath. The first time I got asked to speak on stage, I said no.
Ah,
And I said no. And she said, okay, well, because the idea to have you come and speak on our stage came from your yoga classes. I had a yoga studio for 17 years, very
mm.
successful yoga studio. And so she said it came from your yoga studio. So if you can't do it this year, we'll have you do it next year. And I thought, okay, all right, fine, I'll do it.
Oh, no.
Just
Right,
to get
and
it over with, right? Just to get it over with. And it
right,
just led me into speaking on multiple stages.
right, and so you were glad you got over that fear, and it led you to
Yes.
something else, because the thing is this,
Yeah.
I keep hearing this, and I disagree. We are not being kept safe at all. It's not safety. We are
Right.
being kept back.
Yes.
There's a difference between safe. It's
Mhm.
not safe to not have the lives we want, because that's unsafe, because then what happens? We could
Yeah.
become depressed. We could become demoralized. So
Yeah.
that's not safety. That's not mental safety,
Yeah.
to not be who you're supposed to be. And that's why whenever I hear that, I thought that's not safe at all. That's
Right.
unsafe,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's
So
the
me saying
opposite.
that the ego is wanting to keep you safe. Yeah.
Wanting, yet it
Yeah.
doesn't. It
But
keeps you
doesn't. No, you're
stuck.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Candace,
Yes.
this has been amazing. Thank you so much for turning up. How can people reach out to you?
On my website, CandaceMcKim.com, CandaceMckim.com, and on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube,
All over the place. Okay,
all over the
Candace,
place.
thank you so much. And everybody, thank you for listening. And we hope to see you on the next episode. Please share, please subscribe, please let us know if you like the podcast. Take care. You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Amlour, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Amlour International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact.